I think we're live now, or we should be live in the next few seconds. So, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today in this new adventure we're starting, which is a talk show. I apologize for the background noise. I do have two little children who don't care about talk shows or don't care about the fact that there is a stream going on, but we're not professionals, not yet at least, and you know, you will hear things that no man should hear, but that's just the way it is. We've got Pengu with us tonight. Pengu, as a lot of you know, is one of the best SOTF players, at least in the current landscape. He's been helping new players learn how to play SOTF with teaching them um, tips and tricks on how to get started, how to handle the mid game, how to handle the end game, how to tech up, whether to tech up, etc., etc. Pengu also has a pretty big history, so SOTF is not his first competitive sport. He has played extensively in the CSGO scene where he has done substantially well. Not to mention he's done well within ARC SOTF where he won the two-man and came in the top 10 in a number of months within the survival league. But in CSGO, he really played a number of LAN events throughout Europe, where he did really well and won some of those tournaments. What we're going to be doing today is this week we had a tournament pretty much every single day, and Red Sabrist, our admin, was kind enough to take some clips on moments that we thought were epic and interesting, and we're going to go through some of those moments with Pengu and ask him, hey, what do you think about this? What could have been done differently? So on and so forth. Pengu, does that sound good for you?
Yeah, let's do it, man. I'm ready to go.
All right, great. So let's go. Let's go with the first clip. So the first clip we got it's titled "Cheerful Coupre," the Athena PMS.
In a row, tries to get up on a shoot to get away. Now, is Yaki going to be able to come and catch him?
It's basically
He's
Yake chasing
durability
someone.
to worry about. We have no idea how many bullets these guys have got ready
Somebody
to
trying
fire
to
off in these
parachute
pistols.
off.
Yaki does manage to get some
Just
hits
tell
on
me when the
Dr.
clip is
Smurf,
over.
Dr.
Yeah.
Smurf down to 97 HP, and Yak pushing the advantage.
I'll
moves
give
in
you my take
close
on it.
range, 55 damage into that chest. Now Dr. Smurf nearly broken, and down he goes. Yak is just insane with that pursuit, able to put an end.
So we see this happen a lot, right? Where players who start taking up on Volcano eventually get attacked by other players who come up either from the bottom or from the top and try to essentially take over some of the resources or some of the items that they've produced in terms of technology. Um, Yak obviously won that fight, right? It was his base up there. He got attacked. He won that fight. What could Dr. Smurf have done differently in this scenario?
Right. As you probably know, most of the fights the aggressor wins, unless he gets caught early. So basically, what he should have done is get an even higher position, get a better position to ambush him, and then bide his time until he had a really good moment to ambush him. He basically had no chance left when he got caught doing that, and he had the upper hand on positioning, but he gave it away completely because he committed too soon. And he took a free headshot as well there after he landed his parachute and they came to the bottom. He landed, Yake basically gave him a free headshot because of poor positional play. He had the height advantage. He should have just committed to the fight completely, swing to the right, get the upper ground on Yak, and try to headshot him from there. But he went to the lower ground, played really scared, and got a free headshot from Yak, and then the fight was basically over from there. He could easily finish it.
But in a scenario like that, does it make more sense to parachute away or does it make sense to run down still?
He should have fought it. He should have gone behind the next rock, repositioned, ran around the rock, repositioned higher than Yak, and then basically just took the fight to him because he had the armor advantage too, if I'm not mistaken. I think he had the chitin versus pieces of ghillie suit at least that Yake was still wearing. So he should have just taken the fight, not be scared, and parachute off. And after his ambush didn't work, he should have taken the fight still. He shouldn't have gotten out of there.
Okay, okay. Well, we've got more clips from that same game. If you bear with me, I'm going to play the next one. So the next one's titled "Yak Kills Nikakor."
Yeah.
Now we are big fans of Yak, but we he does seem to sometimes get a lot of interesting action. But we're not doing favoritism today. Um,
Pistol
I'm
shots
playing the
now
clip.
landing from Yaki, but then
Okay.
being returned again by Nikagor. Both of them just taking hit after hit from each other here. But Nikagor, I think, is down the lowest. 192 on Yaki, 144 on Nikagor. Nikagor does manage to land another hit, but then it turns his back to Yaki, and now he's taking the punishment.
Right.
Yaki's got him broken and down.
So
he
basically, kind of not exactly the same scenario because it's flat here. But if you compare their positions right now, Yake is really struggling in that position because there's still 5 players left. There are 2 players, so there's 3 others. And he's exposed. Nikoko isn't exposed at all behind that rock. He's only exposed to Yake, and Yake has a chance to get hit by other players. And you see, before Nikoko dies there, before he's broken, he takes another shot from another side, not from Yake. So basically, I feel like he had a better chance if he let Yake come to him at the rock position and just played with the rock and baited some shots from him there. And that way he could have maybe won the fight. I don't think he did that much wrong, but going into the tree, into an open position, was a big mistake. He took some shots from other players than Yake, and you can see him struggling because he's turning around. He's taking a free headshot there as well, which basically cost him the fight right there.
Now, at the end game, one thing that we've changed is we've added some rocks and trees to give a little bit more cover rather than keeping a flat space, which changed the dynamic of the end game quite a bit. What do you need to have at a bare minimum when you're getting towards the end? I mean, what are the components you need to have? I mean, is a pistol enough? Do you need the long neck rifle? Do you need a shield up there? Do you need to make sure you? Well, what's the bare minimum that you would need to get up?
Are we talking LMS or normal?
We're talking, well, let's say both.
Let's say both. I'm gonna start with LMS. I feel like you could possibly win it if you're carrying two chitin sets, but obviously FAC is better in those situations because most of them are gonna show up with flak. I think you could show up with pistol and long neck and win it, but you're definitely going to be disadvantaged. I think shotgun, even though it's a little bit less powerful in that mod, is necessary around those rocks because people can just keep playing with you and keep baiting you into a better position. And if you don't have a shotgun there, you could end up being broken after 2 shots. So it would be better to have that. Obviously, you need your blood packs, since you're at a disadvantage if you don't have it. Preferably a little bit starved, so your cooked meat has more advantage. And obviously, if you have a red soup, that would be great. But the bare minimum is just like 2 chitin sets, so you can switch out your armor. At some point, your armor is going to break, so I mean, that's really important. You can switch that in.
And then in normal games, you want to obviously get dinosaurs up there. Any specific dinosaurs that you should be taking?
Well, Rexes or Spinos are good. You could go Herbie army, but I feel like normal games are probably best with Rexes and Spinos right now. Carnos are really tanky as well. But you should just have a bunch of nades. You should go for the same setup, but just always have your nades with you. Also, if we're playing in this mode with the rocks and the trees, I feel like IEDs are a lot more powerful than they used to be. Because basically you can set them up a little bit more sneaky and you can bait players more around the corner. You know, when they have you low, when they want to finish you off, they're going to go around the corner. You have the explosives set up there. You blow it up and it's GG.
Okay. We had one question from Super Hot Fire, who wanted to know. So this is the first clip. When you're in a situation where you're the person you're attacking is at a high ground, and you are running away, and you parachute off, and you're using a shield. What would you do when your shield breaks? Do you continue parachuting away or drop down?
Well, in that situation, you don't parachute from there unless you have a double shield, because you already know the other player has firepower, and he's going to break the shield very easily, and he's going to mess you up. That's 100% going to happen. Even if he has bow, it's sometimes dangerous to only have one shield in that situation. Because yeah, what you could do basically is if you have one shield, you just use it till it breaks, then you drop your parachute and you continue on foot there. What he tried to do, but he didn't manage to get away with that. So basically, yeah, it's just not a good situation to be parachuting from, especially when they have pistols and. But yeah, as I said, you just cancel your parachute, you pop another one, you do a pretty fast landing. You don't do the slow landing. You make sure you don't pop your second parachute straight away. You take a little bit of damage on the landing, but you're faster to the ground and you have a better shot of getting away. That's basically it.
Okay, well, I hope Super Hot Fire. I hope that answers your question. Um, Heading into the third clip, which was again Yak and Sirar. Now, this is a classic. This is a classic PvP fight. Um,
Nino
we'll
looks
play
like
it
the
now.
shotgun really doing some damage there. As you would expect, he gets up close and personal with that shotgun with Yaki, and now Yaki is in trouble. Sarah is still taking damage, but Yaki's down to 57 HP, and Sarah is pelting him with those bullets. The AR comes back into play from Yaki and also from Sarah, and now Yaki bringing the pistol back into play. He manages to get Sarah down to 97 HP. Yaki, though, gets swiped out.
Yeah, I basically don't have
Henchman.
too much to comment on this situation because they both played it pretty decent. They're both using the obsidian rock there for cover and to bait the other player in. Yaki has a pretty nice move with the with the assault rifle there, which won him the fight, I feel. But Sirar should have used the shotgun at the start better. He had two really good shots there, two really good opportunities to land two shotgun shots, and he only hit the second one decently. And I don't feel like it was a perfect hit on him either. So I think if he used that shotgun a little better in that situation, he could have pulled the fight towards him. But yeah, it didn't happen. So it was just they didn't make any huge mistakes there. It was just like a fair fight. Just
Now,
the assault rifle missing there is it's not that great, but what you're gonna do, it happens.
yeah, so we've seen some tribes able to get AR within the LMS mod. They're able to tech up fast enough where they're able to get the AR. But one topic or one weapon that's sort of the subject of everyone's attention is the shotgun, whether it's LMS or whether it's normal ARC. What are your thoughts on the shotgun? And if you do go up against a shotgun, what's the best way to counter it?
Well, it's a pretty simple answer. It's just distance you need. You just need to make distance as fast as you can from the shotgun. And if you can't get any distance, let's say he's on red soup and you're not, you're just gonna have to time when he's gonna take the shot. Especially the second shot, you can always dodge that one because you know it's gonna come. There's very few players right now that actually wait shooting their second shot. They want to do it instantly. They want to get it over with, So you just dodge the second shot. And yeah, you just try to dance around the player. That's basically all you can do against the shotgun, or you take a lot of distance.
So, in your opinion, do you think the shotgun is still too overpowered, or is it just because people are not able?
Oh, it's definitely overpowered, but let's say the crossbow is still overpowered as well. So it's difficult.
Okay.
I feel like it does need a nerf, definitely, especially because if you get ambushed, it kills people in one shot. I mean, yeah, it's a little too messed up in my opinion. But yeah, it's also a very good counter against certain things that would otherwise be overpowered. I feel like going for 3 Mongos or powerful apes could be a very big issue if you're on the ground and you have no shotgun. I mean, you could take distance and pop some pistol shots, but even on red soup, apes will catch up to you. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like the shotgun is very effective there.
No, makes sense. Um, going on forward with some other clips we have. There was one scenario where we had RPG kills. Now RPG is only quite frankly possible within LMS, and I believe this was the LMS game, so I'm going to play the clip now.
Goodness is now moving in. Pushes round the rock. Oh, and he gets round alongside Odie Ames. Oh, and the RPG. comes in. Yasu sacrifices his teammate.
I'm just checking real quick if I got the right clip here. I think it was.
And now Michael D-Day is under fire from the
Beautiful
remaining players.
Lyrebird
D-Day also has an
Ralphers.
RPG,
That's
and
correct.
he commits suicide using it against power. I'm sorry
Well,
for
he
the
couldn't do
camera, I wasn't
much.
expecting
I mean,
it to go off there.
at that
Michael
range,
D-Day
especially when the opponent is willing to
suicides
take out his
with
own
what? This is
teammate,
now
it's a very
moving
awkward
in.
situation. However, I do feel like he wasn't aware enough of his surroundings, and he should have been less committed to the fight. But yeah, I understand that happened. You know, I mean, if the other guy's going to take out his teammate together with you, he made the choice to hug the teammate probably for that reason. I don't know. I don't know if he was already aware there was an RPG in play, but yeah, if he's going to blow up his own teammate, there's nothing you can do. You know, it's GG.
And so when it comes to the RPG, is that a weapon you traditionally use a lot in your games, or you don't need it? And
I'm not a heavy tagger really. I don't go up to flak really. I think I've done it a few times maybe, but I'm not a really big fan of it. I have my own play style with it. But no, the RPG, I've seen a few players take up to it in normal games though, and it's effective. But also, I always felt like even before when the scene was more competitive, let's say around the times that the China Joy tournament, there were some teams that would take up to C4 or to RPGs. But the problem with that is if you have a lot of good players left at the end, it's basically yeah, it's basically you can just mess up a player's day with it, but you can't really win games with it because you're just gonna, if people aggress on you, you're gonna have to use it, you know, or you're dead. And if you've used it, yeah, it's 2 shots and it's gone. And what are you gonna do after that? So it's basically, it's not gonna win you a lot of games. So I'm not really a big fan of it, but it can ruin some people's day, and it's fun to use it, I guess. But it's not really. I mean, it's not that viable right now, I feel.
well, we've got another RPG clip
He's going to use
which
that
we're
very
running now.
soon.
The Vicious
Especially
Human.
if he
Hey
walks
guys.
up here and bumps straight into Nikogor, I think we can expect to see
Yeah.
him use it. QT is around behind him though. QT does spot him. The long neck shots go off. The RPG comes out. And there it is. QT gets 191 damage from the RPG and swaps over for Rafi. Rafi and Bobby come in and say,
this one is more
"RPG, that's
interesting
cheating. Here, have some
because I
pistols."
feel
And
he could have done more with it here. He takes that next sidestep and he moves back with it, and I think that's wrong. I think he should have committed more to the player. He was probably a bit scared of hitting himself with it, but the player, either when somebody pulls out an RPG, you're either gonna hug the person so you make him kill himself to kill you, or you're gonna run away very very fast. But the enemy player didn't really make the right decision here. I feel like he should have been dead with a little better execution on that play when he pulled out the RPG at the right moment. Better execution, and he's definitely dead, and he's got a one-on-one and a better chance to win that.
Okay.
But he did make that mistake, and I feel like the other player made the mistake as well, because I would have gone and hugged him, made him kill himself to get the kill if he wanted to kill. Like, I think that's a better way to go about it. Then he has to put it back away, you know?
Okay. Well, I mean, I unfortunately I've never been able to get to the point where I've been able to craft an RPG. So yeah, using it has been always challenging and / impossible. But yeah, we're gonna move on to the next clip, which is nice pistol shots.
Yeah, I have it here.
Yeah, perfect. I'm gonna play it now.
Against QT, Dolan does take return fire from QT here. QT moving in with the crossbow, pokes his head around the corner, misses the first shot, but has plenty of time to reload to try and get those key headshots. And there it is. The headshot comes in with a 110 damage. Shotgun in the hand of Dolan. Potato aim is taken out by Rafi.
This was one that actually did impress me quite a bit.
Dolan,
it was a very good dodge on the shotgun, although yeah, the shotgun execution wasn't that great on both shots there. But he did dodge that. He got the timing down, you know. He had a good idea, solid idea when Dolan was going to take that shotgun shot, and he dodged it perfectly. He had the shadow stake popped, he had the silencer on the pistol, so basically after he dodged those shots, it was just the shooting range for him, and obviously shooting the chest off was very... it was very easy after that because Dolan had nowhere to go. So. was nice shooting and was good dodging actually from his part.
Okay.
So he did well there.
Okay. We're as we move along with some of these clips, of course, we'll be collecting more clips as time comes by. What's changed a lot significantly, and guys, thank you so much for following us. What's changed since we started this, or since we decided we're going to start this, is we're shortening or we're cutting down the number of tournaments we do in a week. So the idea is that we will focus only on one specific day, which would be Saturday, where we'll organize a bunch of tournaments, versus doing it throughout the week, Monday to Friday or Monday to Sunday, as we traditionally did, because it was quite taxing on us in terms of time. And that is the primary reason why we want to slow down a bit and focus on one day, which is what we will be doing from next week onwards. The XPulZ tournaments will happen on Saturday. We won't be doing five-man LMS anymore, but we will start looking at different structured team modes where the games will be slightly shorter, a little bit more entertaining, maybe take out some specific weapons like shotguns, and maybe take out specific dinosaurs like the Bigfoot or the Spino, depending on what the feedback is of what we think makes the most sense in order to have competitive play. So, Pengu, I'm going to move on to the next clip, which is, it's not tech for change, it's traditional primitive weapons. So I'm going to play the clip.
Yep.
As soon as is eyeing him up, he is about to.
Oh, the
Oh.
fight's gonna start.
Oh, and he's gonna spear it up. He's getting a bunch of hits on Kimbus. But Kimbus has already taken 100 health down. And he is spearing him. He's actually doing some
Spear
serious
against
damage.
bow. Spear against bow. This is nice.
Oh,
8 damage on Kimbus. And another 4 damage.
Kimbus is... I cannot believe he's gotten him this low. 120 damage down. Kimbus is down to 48 though, so he better be careful. Because he's going to get shot
this
here.
one.
Oh.
This one actually made me giggle.
Oh,
a bit.
Kimbus does have a gun.
It was
So-
quite fun.
What was the fun part? Now they started off with bows and crossbows and spears, and then weapons on. So what was the?
Yeah, I just think I know Kimbus quite well, and I'm pretty sure he was intoxicated during this game. And else, I don't think the spear would have ever come out in that situation. But it worked quite well for him, actually, the spear there. But once Sassoon got some distance and started getting some composure, I think he was very surprised to get speared. And it took him a while to realize, like, okay, I just have to dodge a little, I have to shoot some arrows, and it's all good. And then when the pistols came out, yeah, he had a pretty solid win. But yeah, basically, Kimbus should have never taken a spear out, but I think he knows that himself pretty well. So there's nothing much I can say on that. But yeah, it was Kaiten versus Flak as well, so he had the disadvantage. I think he was just messing around a little bit there. And at the end, Sassoon finished off with a couple of decent pistol shots, which is, actually quite well. Yeah, he had the silencer on there as well for less recoil. So.
Okay, and some of the comments coming in chat, the machine gun bow, they prefer 100 damage to the bow. Obviously there's the kappa sign missing after a lot of these, but as a weapon, bow, crossbow, what do you think is great about them? Do you think there's something wrong with them? Do they need fixing? What's your opinion on that?
I think in LMS the bow does a little too low damage, but in normal I think the bow is perfectly fine as it is right now. I think it's great. The crossbow, however, I feel, other than the problems of it desyncing even more than a normal bow, is the other problem that a headshot does way too much damage. Now it does impact your movement a lot, but I feel like in certain situations it's a little too overpowered right now. Although it's quite a fun weapon to play around with, and I feel like it definitely has its place in the game, but right now it's a little too powerful.
Okay, so we're now going to the tournament we did on Friday, which was 4-man official. And before we go there, Lunde Six points out the pistol is maybe a bit too weak in LMS, but pistol in normal is OP. Do you feel the same?
I think Gunn is just a very good pistol player, and that's why he feels it's a little OP. I think pistol with a shadow stake, yeah. I mean, it gets to the point where if you're ambushing a player, you'd rather have the pistol in hand with a shadow stake, and you definitely have a kill on him, instead of the long neck where you get one headshot and then the player has a chance to run away. Whereas if you have the pistol, you can tap him so fast that he doesn't have time to react or get stuck in inventory or something like that. So he has a point, but I don't think it's OP really. There's a lot of things you can do, and a lot of players playing with Medi Brews and Bloodpack standard anyway. So I think it's okay. It might break the armor a little too fast sometimes. If you're in an open area, that could be rough, but I think it's okay as it is.
Yeah, I think there are two perspectives to this. One is there are a bunch of really good players such as yourself, such as Lunde, who know how to operate the weapons and know how to effectively aim within SOTF. But then there are also newer players who are coming on, and they find it overwhelming because it's not as simple as a first person shooter where you've got CS:GO, you know exactly what weapons you have. There's a limited choice and you buy them versus having to craft them. Whereas in SOTF, you have to do a lot before you can actually get to the point where you can make weapons. You've been teaching a lot of new players on how to play SOTF. Where have you seen the biggest stress points, or where have you seen the biggest challenges that new players have when it comes to SOTF?
I think it's not only. I think a lot of people get this point wrong. I don't think you just need to teach them to survive the early game. I think you need to teach them in the end, and that's what it's really about, to show up at middle with something that they can have a decent chance of surviving with and winning with. Because even if you can get them to survive the early game and they show up late game with bow and hide, now that's not good enough. That's not playing the game. That's not participating properly. That's just running around fighting PvE a little, and then you get to the middle and have no chance at all. So it's basically like convincing these players and making them challenge themselves and making more stuff. And you basically start with taming, and then you try to get them to switch to tech. And when they have the tech down, you try to make a combination of the two, like get your tames down first and get your tech ready meanwhile. So I think that's the part where the challenge lies. I think it's kind of there's a lot of aspects to the game, like the environment, the heat, the mega cold. I play a lot of games where I see like 6 people dying straight away to mega cold. That
Yeah.
should never happen. Or 6 people dying to mega heat. You should learn the basics first. Make sure you can handle that stuff, so you don't die to the environment. But as soon as that's done, I feel like they should be challenged more and go straight into tames. There's a couple players like Alex Goldsmith is a viewer of mine.
Yeah.
He got his first win with me in a 2-on-2, I think, and then he started winning FFAs because he's now showing up at the mid with tames instead of hide gear or kite and bow. He's showing up with tames and tech, so that gives you a lot better chances, and it gives you more of an opportunity to learn to manage these weapons, because that's also a challenge for these players. Like, even if you've played CS, the pistol is so weird compared to a normal weapon in another game. So you need to get a chance to use them to learn it, and doing some deathmatch or something could help with that. But
Yeah, I mean, so I'm obviously an amateur player when it comes to SOTF, and what I always found, I was never able to do both tame and tech effectively. But when I was watching one of your streams the other day, and you said, well, you don't have to tech, you can actually focus on the tames and then go hunt for tech. You do this tactic a lot. How many times does it actually work out for you, or do you change it based on the number of players or the type of players in the game?
you do change it on the type of player in the game and the number of players in the game, because you want to know that there's going to be a base for you to raid. And that's actually how Decky, the fittest survivor,
Sorry,
taught me to play this game.
who is he?
Decky Rage, the fittest survivor.
Oh, could you give an introduction of him?
Yeah, he's probably the best player in SOTF that ever played the game, and he's not playing it so much recently, but he's probably the one of the most well-known players, and yeah, definitely one of the craziest guys when it comes to movement and bow aim and pistol aim, long neck aim, whatever. Like all-round very good player, very experienced, been around since the total conversion times, etc. So he's a veteran player basically.
Okay, so has he retired now, or?
He hasn't really retired, but he's got a new job and he's streaming less and he's playing less. And yeah, since the Survivor League's been gone, he's been yeah.
And
It's
he,
obviously
this is actually quite interesting because when you won the two mans, that was with Decky, right?
yeah. He carried me that very hard that game. I
Okay.
have carried him on other occasions, but he did the first one I won. He carried very hard.
That,
Actually, the first time I played with him, I think he got sixth place by himself as well.
oh wow. So he's I've watched his streams obviously, and I've seen him sometimes stream competitive games as well when he's playing the Survivor League as an example, and he's very very focused.
Yeah,
Is he like that when you are playing with him as well, where he has a plan before you actually go in? He's actually looked at the other players, or is it more laissez-faire? Let's see how it works out. Let's change tactics as needed, or is there an aggressive plan from the start?
yeah, it depends on the situation, really. One thing you need to know about him is that he's crazy. He's probably the craziest guy I know. He's completely crazy in his head, mental. So yeah, it's it can he can change his mood and his setting. But like, let's say Survivor League, when we were grinding, we had some pretty clear plans, but we adjust them on who's in the lobby. If you have five other good teams or you have two other good teams, if there's two other good teams, we might hunt for a longer period of time because we'll need less to beat the end game. But if there's more good teams, you're gonna need more gear in case you get unlucky and you have like two teams waiting for you at your ramp. You're gonna need a couple more grenades to deal with that, etc. So it depends basically. But we had we played a lot of games together, so obviously everything went kind of simple. In the end, I think we were mostly just splitting up and just doing our own thing and meeting at the middle at the end. But that's obviously not the most effective way to play. It's just, yeah.
So,
I mean,
what was the one tip you got from him that you now share with everyone you are
okay.
teaching?
So I feel like he was a very, very bad teacher, very incompetent, and yeah, no, I have to start off with that. He's a great player and probably the best, but he was very incompetent, and he didn't tell me the basics enough. Like, he came from Arc into total conversion, so he knew the basics. I didn't come from Arc, so I didn't even know that an Arcoberry puts you to sleep.
Yeah.
I didn't know the basics, so he did try to tell me, but I think he he leaped over a few things, and that's why I feel like it's very important to introduce a tutorial for players that aren't as familiar with the Arc mechanics, etc. But what he did tell me to do, as soon as I knew how to tame, and I wasn't taming things with raw meat anymore because
Yeah.
I was trying to. He told me like, yeah, if you just trank things, you trank a Rex, that's the best, or you trank a Spino, that's great. Then you trank it up a little more, and then you feed it. But I was feeding it with berries at the start, like I didn't know what to do. Like, and after that, he's like, yeah, you dumbass, you feed it meat, Then I went to get normal meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So then when I finally figured out it was prime, okay, he told me the next step and he told me you just tame a dino and then you go up to these and these spots and then you try and steal the tech, basically. That's where it started for me. And after I got better and I got swifter and faster at things, because you do need that time to manage your inventory,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah,
tough love is what got you to understand the game.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna go on to the next clip, which was so this is the tournaments on Friday, the 4-man normal STF tournaments that we do. I'm gonna play one now.
Okay,
He
great.
can do draw shots as he moves. Gatos losing HP passively there in the distance, and that's probably going to be to water loss where he's using those stims. He does exchange shots now, and Fittest is also all over Gatos. So many hits, and now Vince is on the receiving end of that deadly aim. He's now switched.
So our bow and arrow fights are probably some of the hardest. As an amateur, I think it's one of the hardest ways to fight in the game because you have the desyncs as well, plus aiming with a bow, reloading it, and firing it. It's a lot of actions required. In this scenario, what could he have done differently?
Right. He made quite a few mistakes, but there's a backstory to that I'll tell later as well. But I'd like to know if the chat knows who this player is, the fish and chips guy, because I don't actually know him. But he did some things right. He went for the headshots only against Hyde while he was in Kite, so that was his advantage. He doesn't need that much headshots to get him broken, so he did that pretty well. However, I feel like his movement was kind of basic, and you see that on a lot of players at this level. I mean, he's strafing left, right, very predictable, little proning in between, but it's still very predictable, and it's not that many actions he's doing. And Gatos is mimicking that, but he's going lower than him, and he's just not playing that action right, Gatos there. He did lure him into. He had his teammate right under him, so he should have played to that a little bit more. He's basically allowing him to headshot him there. His teammate could have helped him out a lot more in that situation if he played it with more movement and more aggressive. Yeah, exactly. I mean, he was fighting Hyde versus Kite, and he was lower HP, which is a massive advantage. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like if he did some crazier movements there, he's very close to the player. They're both doing the same movement. It's very easy to get headshotted in that situation.
And this push-up strategy, going up and down, strafing left and right, is a specific formula, or is it just you have to make it as random as possible and not have any?
No, I'm not a fan of that, doing push-ups for the sake of push-ups. What you do is, when you check out really good players doing that, they're usually timing it with a bow shot. You see the other guy pulling his arrow, and you know when he's going to release it, and you can time that with a prone. But it comes to the point where the other player is expecting you to do that, and he pre-fires the ground, and you get a headshot from that. So it depends. Like, I would only prone if I'm timing it against an arrow that's going to land. Some players do it just preemptively, just to, like, they do their left-right strafing and then the proning in between. But I don't think that's very good.
So completely off topic. Zero Tomatic wants to know how he can get girls.
Yeah, he can be a funny guy, but he's a little bit rude sometimes.
So Zero, you got to be more polite, and I guess more respectful towards the females, and maybe you might get lucky then.
Yeah, because he's an adorable guy. I don't know how he doesn't get females, but he's very adorable. But he's also very. He can get a little toxic, but he's an adorable guy.
Okay. So I hope that helps you, Zero, in your future love life. Going on to the next one, and these, organizing tournaments. This is what's so much fun, watching this action happen through the player's eyes.
He's
Basically,
in inventory. Feus possibly waiting for his teammates to line up.
Yeah.
So I'm just playing this.
Yeah.
Boom! Straight away, those coordinated headshots, so dangerous. Littlefoot not taken out by the pistol, actually taken out by a long neck shot.
So, headshot, secretly climbing, getting behind the base while you're in inventory, and it's happened to so many players. When they're in inventory, they're crafting something, they're busy something, they're checking something, and then before they know it, they're taken out of the game.
Yeah. So it was a good ambush. I'm gonna start with what the ambushers could have done better. People ambushing them. I feel like they could have maybe gotten 2 kills out of this if they played it a little better. If the other guy went for pistol and they both went for one target, that's greedy though. It's a greedy play. It's the play that I would make, but it's greedy. They did a coordinated headshot here, and they got the safe kill. They got the certain kill. You could not react to that. But yeah, I would be more greedy. I would go for the double. Since you've got a perfect ambush situation here. Even if they're parachuting off, they could parachute away from here. but you've got a pretty good chance of hitting their feet and finishing them off after a few headshots. So I feel like they could have gotten more out of this. Also, the player getting headshotted, yeah, I mean, there's not much he could do, but yeah, he'd wanna that second position he's taking behind the smithy. He should have been more in between the forges and the smithy, which covers more of his body and covers more angles. He had, yeah, he didn't have enough angles covered the way he was proning there. So that's the only thing he could have done better, basically.
So, question, amateur question. Does it make sense to build walls?
Sorry, could you repeat
Sorry,
that?
does it make sense to build walls at your base? Because these bases are open. Does it make sense to build up a wall?
Yeah, it does. Sure. Why not? If that gives you cover to that side, sure. I don't do it myself,
No, of course
obviously,
not.
because I'm not. Yeah, but it does make sense. Definitely in these kind of things where you go, where you spend a long time at your base, it does make sense. But yeah, all around, even in these situations when you're playing a 4-man, there should always be one guy scouting around. Really, you don't need 4 people crafting. And if you're going 2-2 taming, while the base is started up, you still need to have one guy watching around. If you want to play it perfect, if you want to take the chance, yeah, then you're taking the chance. But you should
So,
really have one guy looking around the base.
so when you're in a 4-man setup, what you essentially would do is 3 people would be crafting, taming, and you'd send one off on a scouting mission to find where the other bases are, or find where the other players are, because you want to raid them early on in the game, or you just simply want to know what they're up to, or harass
Now
them.
he doesn't need to scout that far really. He just needs to not commit to the crafting so hard that he can look around. You know,
Okay.
that's basically what the really good teams used to do. I mean, I know that for a fact that most of them, as soon as they had an inclining that there could be an ambush or there was the time that their other players could have rushed the pistol and come and get them. There's definitely one guy being more cautious and looking around and checking the off angles that they can get taken from.
Okay.
That's basically what you need to do that, though.
Okay. So I'm gonna play the next clip, the last clip for the 4-man that we did on Friday. This is near the end, I believe.
Not much he can do. He's going to be running low on stamina. He does keep pelting out the long neck shots, but now comes under focus from Marcus. Marcus actually passes out in that fight. The Mammoths are storming through. Marcus is taken down by Jim. Not quite sure what's going on there. But the grenade lands on top of EU, and down he goes in that.
So this was a classic team kill, which is how Marcus essentially got taken out. Of course, there were different stories that maybe it was intentional, maybe it was accidental, maybe because he was already sort of passed out. I was like, okay, fine, let's just get rid of him. You know, what do you think happened there?
Well, first of all, he got knocked out under the weight of his massive shotgun, I think, Marcus. But it seems like he's laying down to loot him or to take something, I don't know, or to give him stims, or maybe he changed his mind and was like, yeah, whatever, I'm just gonna kill him. I really don't know. The only thing was that he was fighting a pretty nice fight, but yeah, he didn't have much chance, 2 versus 1 there. But he runs into not a grenade there. I think Davnell says a grenade, but it was an IED. It was an IED trap set. It was very visible, actually. I'm kind of.
So it was a narco trap. Marcus is
No, an IED, an explosive trap.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, he got blown up. He was instantly like 8 HP or something. It was over. Also, the way he was running, the side he was running to, doesn't make sense to me in a 2v1. I feel like he could have used the Foot of the Gods or probably Super Loot in that situation, and the pillars more to get cover and try and get some cheeky headshots. But he didn't have much of a chance there anyway. But he ran into an IED trap basically, which was the problem.
Okay. So Decky has a question. Why did you eventually make the decision to play SOTF? And what makes the game so appealing to you and that you've invested so much time and effort into SOTF? So essentially what Decky wants to know is what do you like about SOTF? And why do you do what you do?
Okay, well, I started playing because he convinced me. He asked me a few times actually, and by the time I actually installed it and I had all the settings sorted out, yeah, I don't know. By the time I was playing it, and I started getting my first kills and playing better with the bow and stuff. I mean, it's very fun to play with bow, and that's kind of what convinced me to keep playing it and try to get better at it. I'm a person who pushes himself when I get challenged. Like I hear people saying like you shouldn't kill bobs at the start, etc. But that triggers me. If I get killed at the start, I'm gonna want to get better at that game because I don't want to die like that. I'm gonna make sure I don't spend as much time in my inventory so that I don't get inventory killed anymore. And I feel like the game has a very unique sense of a survival game. It has a lot of different aspects to it, and that's what I like about it. I mean, everything can change in an instant, and I think it's just a solid, great game. And once you start doing those bullfights, I think a lot of people would get hooked to it. But it has some problems, obviously, since I got like I don't know 30 FPS or something at the start with my old setup, so it needs it needed some optimization back then, etc. So it had its pitfalls, which a lot of my friends fell into. They didn't like it because they got too low FPS, and they didn't stick with it because it took too long to get good at it. Um, yeah, I guess it depends from person to person, but I just love the game, the bullfighting. So.
But wouldn't you categorize games like CS:GO or some of the more bigger competitive games where there are a lot more players playing a lot harder to get better at than SOTF?
It has a bigger serious pool of players that want to get good and are practicing together, which makes it obviously harder. But I think the basics of the game, I think you learn that faster in CS:GO actually than you do in Arc.
And, and when it came to teaching new players, because obviously there are probably a lot of CS:GO players out there who want to get better and want to learn from your expertise in CS:GO. Why did you decide to teach new players in SOTF?
Because I think it's very necessary in SOTF to keep the community growing. If they don't have I had Deki to fall back on, and I could ask him, and I could motivate myself to go and watch some YouTube videos, some Twitch videos, but there wasn't that great material out, to be honest. All of it was outdated, and a lot of it was very hard to understand and wasn't really to the point, like 2 hour videos for something like 10 minutes long.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, I don't know. I think it's. I need to learn to do it a lot better. And as soon as I have more material and I have more more people to teach, I think it's gonna go better and faster, etc. When I have the map drawn out, etc. Like I think,
Okay.
yeah.
So Yak, you obviously know him, French player, a young French player. Um, he wants to know, do you speak French?
Uh, very, very little. I played a bit with Jordan, and I tried to speak French to him because he doesn't really speak English.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely horrendous to hear me speak French. Like for French people or people from Belgium that speak decent French, it's a horrendous sight.
So when you go into SOTF games now, right? Who are you most excited to see in terms of
Um,
competitive? When you're in your FFA or two mans or four mans, you get in there, you're like, yes, this player's in there. I can't wait to destroy him or wreck him because I know he's gonna give me a good fight.
um, yeah, that's a really tough question. I enjoy playing against a lot of players. A lot of players have the same style, and um, I do enjoy playing against them. And to be fair, a lot of the players I used to get that feeling from, they don't play that much anymore. Or they don't play anymore. And even when they did play, we barely met them at the 2-on-2 thingies. I think I only met Molman and Wilson in official twos like twice. I played more tournaments against them than I ever did two mans against them. So that's kind of like, yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, there's a lot of good players left still. It's fun to see the French guys in there, and it's fun to see some friends of mine in there. Like can trash talk them a little and try to get them on tilt before they get
Yeah.
me on tilt. You
I
know.
mean, from our perspective, what we enjoy seeing now, like when we run our tournaments, is talked about the YGD boys, and Marcus's tribe. When there's a showdown between one of them or all three of them, that's when we are like, wow, there's definitely some action coming because they all have such unique different styles, in the way they do, in the way they play, that it's just phenomenal. Um, have you gone up against any of these tribes in the games that you've played?
Yeah, I have gone up against all of them probably, but yeah, some of these players only play the tournaments or play very little official tools or.
So do you have a playbook on if you encounter YGD or if you encounter Marcus's tribe or talk to them out? Do you have like a playbook on how you can take them out? Do you start early on with mind games? Do you start, what's your play when you come across them?
Nah, I tend to prefer to take these players out early rather than later because that's because of my own kind of lazy style. Most games I play,
Yeah.
so I'd rather just get a lot of levels at the start, get the bow up, try to go to an area that they might be, and yeah, try to fight against them early on with the bow because that's my preferred weapon. Like I can go up with the guns, but I'd rather just bow fight them or slingshot them at the start. And, that's what I aim to do and try to do. I don't alter my tactics all that much, although I might try a little bit harder than a usual game. I might even get a tame or something, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't try to alter too much on my game. I don't. I prefer people adjust to me and try not to adjust too much to other people.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to play the last three clips from Last Man Standing. Sorry, four clips from Last Man Standing. So Saturday was the last time we ran the 5-man LMS. So we've been running them for approximately 2 months. And yesterday we made the decision that, okay, we've done a lot of these. The 5-man LMSs are a lot of fun, but at the same time, there are a lot of we feel that you need at least a full server with 100 people in there to really get the best out of LMS. And because with the current player population, and perhaps probably because of the way we promote tournaments, we don't get to everyone. We hit around 50, and the game starts off reasonably well with a lot of kills in the beginning, but then the mid, because the game being 1.5 hour long, slows down quite a lot when you start getting action in the last 30 to 40 minutes of the game. So this is the last clip. Obviously, yesterday was a little bit of an emotional day for some of us, so especially we've been doing this for such a long time. But would love to hear your thoughts on these clips.
Only one left.
Yeah, I
and
feel
he is
like
running straight
full
at
server for
Marcus.
LMS is definitely
Jumps off on that parachute. He's
a
going to
lot
get
more
that.
fun as well because you have so much mid game, you have so much late game roaming that makes it a lot more fun when there's more players, basically.
Okay, so before I play the clip again, Decky has another question for you, which he wants to know why you tilt so fast.
I set the bar very high for me, and that's what I did in CS as well, and worked out very well for me because when I was younger, I could rate myself as a better player, but when I played CS, I would say my aim was probably not as good as the players I was competing with at the top level.
So for an amateur, what do you mean by tilting?
Tilting is basically when you make yourself so angry or so upset that your play gets you start playing differently. You start missing shots you would never miss, or you start doing things that are very illogical.
So like a Hulk type approach.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Okay.
the kind of stuff.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna play the next clip, and yeah, this clip is called "Difficult Hamster Resident Sleeper."
Yeah, I don't think I got the last four clips. I basically got everything till the Friday 4-man official, so I'm just gonna watch it with you on stream, and I might just reply a little later then.
Okay. So
Actually,
I'll play it a few times then.
Yeah, all good.
Is the only one left, and he is running straight at Marcus. Jumps off on that parachute. He's going to get that shield up, but it's not going to do much good with that many players all pistol shooting behind you. He drops into the water. That's going to leave him exposed, especially if there's scopes in the hands of these players. Power, gets taken down by that long-range headshot by Marcus there. YouTube Power is the only one left.
I got the gist of it.
So again, long range. Power jumped off the platform, thinking he's okay, he's far enough. What did he do wrong? I mean, was that a lucky shot? Was that a
He was
mistake?
never gonna get out of there alive, unless only thing he could have done was try to juke them onto the left hand side where it's more trees and more rocks, and then parachute when he's lost them. But parachuting like that when you have the players behind you right then, that's a death sentence. You're a goner. That's done. Getting into the water where they have less visibility was maybe a smart thing to do, but nah. I mean, you're gonna have to get out of the water, and these players are not gonna miss all their shots. Like they're four players. It's never gonna work out. He should have juked towards the left, maybe parachuted down to the lower ledge, like the lower cliff, because they couldn't hit him there. Then move back up, try to juke them into the forest, go back up through the rocks, and then when he's lost them, maybe then try to parachute when they're not focusing him.
Okay.
But yeah, four players and one shield. Nah, he couldn't. He couldn't even have made that parachute. He landed it because he was getting in trouble and the shield was gonna break. I'm pretty sure. Um, so yeah, there's not much he could do.
So I'm going to play the next clip because we are slowly running out of time. After this talk show, we're going to start, just a for fun, Naughty versus Nice. That will not be casted. There are people who are interested in playing. So going on to the next clip. This one is titled "Talented Salmon Anel."
Sarah
Yeah.
moving against Dolan with that AR. Down so low, so quick as RPG Desync sweeps through. Now Sarah moving against.
So this was mid game, right? And we see this a lot in LMS, and sometimes we see this in 4-man normal art as well, where tribes contest for super loot. How critical is getting super loot, and what do you need to take up there with you in order to secure super loot?
For that point of the game, it depends who's in the game really. But in LMS, you're gonna need you're gonna need to have the flak to take it down, and you're gonna need your basic weaponry, at least a couple shotguns, a couple pistols at least in the tribe. Plus, what happened here? He was overextended way too far without his teammates. Um, so that's why they lost the player. They could have gotten out without the super loot. Um, if they stayed together, or they could have taken the fight. But this was like a mid decision with one player going in and the rest holding back. That's never a good thing. Like you either commit to it or you don't commit. But this was bad.
Okay, okay. In terms of the priority when you're playing games like these, do you make it a mindset where you're like, okay, definitely need to get super loot, or do you play by ear and see if it makes sense to go get it, or what's your thought when you start the game?
Now the thing, and that's the same thing in, let's say, tournaments of normal 4-man, is you don't need super loot. You've got experienced players, you can get all the tech you need, even with 2 players teching. That's no problem at all. You don't need that super loot. It's fun to have it, but you definitely don't need it, and it's not worth the risk. That's how I feel. Um, the risk is just not worth the reward at that point. In a normal game, like you're just doing an official 4-man, it's definitely worth it. You can do it. It's a fun game. You can go hunt after you have the super loot. It's fun. You just make kite and pistol. You go and get it. Maybe get a few nades in case other people have dames. But in this situation, never get the super loot. I feel like if you're an experienced 4-man team, you don't need it.
Okay, well, makes sense. Makes sense. Next clip I'm going to play is titled "The Misty Mosquito Freaking Stinking." Our titles are done by Red Sabers, and she's a much better descriptionist than I think a lot of us will ever be. So I'll play the clip.
Nikagor is on the run, but he has the whole of Goren Ma around him. He's getting behind that shield, but he's in a lot of trouble. MQGG is closing in. Darkness was killed by ZG. Nikagor taking shot after shot. The compound bow comes out. Can he land the finishing hit before one of his tribe mates comes along? Come on, MQGG. There it is. Nikagor goes down to the compound bow. We see 3 whole tribes, I think that was, eliminated up on the platform.
Right.
So crossbow versus pistol versus long neck, which is your preferred weapon?
In this situation that we're seeing right now, it's definitely pistol, I'd say. And you can see, yeah, this is definitely the right clip. You can see MQGG, which obviously isn't MQGG. I'm not sure who it was. Maybe Lunda. I'm not sure. One of those guys, maybe Velo. I'm not sure. But he got a lot of good pistol hits there. I think he hit almost all 6 of his shots in that clip, so it was over there at the fight. Then he kind of slacked a little with the left-right strafe with the compound bow, but I guess he just wanted to take him out in style at that point. But yeah, it was an all-out brawl. I think they were fighting some other tribe members at that point as well behind them. So yeah, it was a good fight. You can't say much about it. It's like he shouldn't have been in that position maybe, but I think he needed to take a stand to help his teammates at that point, so it's understandable.
And in terms of when it comes down to making decisions on crafting weapons, obviously in LMS, with a small number of players, it's a lot easier because you have a lot more time and less stress to craft a lot of weapons. But in normal in SOTF formats, the official settings, is it worth getting a crossbow?
I definitely feel in the current meta game, it's good to have a crossbow, yeah. Because it's so powerful, especially when you're ambushing people. You want to have that crossbow in your inventory. But I do feel like people could make a lot better decisions when it comes to normal games, picking what weapon they take up first. Like, depending on how the game is going, if you think people might be rushing monkeys and going after you or something, you take a shotgun before you take your pistol even. Or if you think you're vulnerable to tames at your position, people could rush you with that, you take nades and shotgun or something before you take anything else. A lot of people forget, especially really good tech players, can often forget that there is a mid game and that people can come and hunt them. I see so many players making the mistake of taking freaking clot and not going up to chitin, or staying in hide, not going up to chitin. And it really makes me angry because there is a mid game. You could get ambushed. You always need to have in the back of your mind that you could get ambushed. So you don't leave 500 metal in your forges and go and craft the last second and then make all the weapons at the same time. No, you make your pistol or your shotgun when you can make it. You keep it loaded and ready in your inventory. You keep your chitin set on. If there's an acid rain, you switch to your hide or you build your base shot, and you just do the right thing, you know? You don't go ham on the crafting, just, over focused on the crafting.
Well,
That's, I
makes
think,
sense.
a big mistake people make.
From an amateur perspective, sometimes it's very overwhelming in what to make, what not to make. But hopefully with the tips you're sharing today, those who are new to SOTF would have a better idea of how to play the game. A question from Canon 2000: do you think Super Loot should be taken out of the game?
I'm a big fan of consistency and taking as much RNG as you can out of a game. A game, by definition, usually has RNG in it. That's what makes a lot of games fun. And makes them games, basically. But I think you should limit RNG where you can. So definitely, yeah, take the super loot out. Although in the normal mode, it does trigger more mid-game fights, but you can do that in a different way.
Okay, so we're going to play the last clip for the evening. That's Gleaming Quail Strawberry.
Yeah.
Giving his mouse a frustrated shake there, I think. But Robin Hood again exposes himself as he gets up on that chute and is just plucked out of the air by LV, giving his mouse a frustrated shake there, I think. But Robin Hood again exposes himself as...
So, long neck, one shot, immediately switched to pistol. Dense forestry, it was very hard to see the player, but he got the first shot because he was parachuting away. He was still parachuting away, and then he got the second one. So LV. I remember because this was a question that was asked before the game started whether he was a legit player or not, and he was a legit player. I believe it was Bobby, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Situation like that, me thinking, being an amateur, thinking that the forest gives you great cover. What did he do wrong? What did Robin Hood do wrong?
Yeah, he parachuted. That's basically what he did wrong. That's how you make it predictable for him. Nothing is predictable in that forest. It's dense. You can run around left, right. He's gonna have a really hard time lining up his shot. But you see him. He's just going forward. He's jumping, lining up his shot perfectly. He can't do that if he's going left and right. Then he has to correct his aim faster. If he's going in a parachute, you have predictable movement, and it's basically becomes really easy to finish him off there. So he should have never parachuted there, never, ever, ever, or he should have done it much later when he had more distance or more cover. It was a bad parachute. That's all.
Okay. Well, I hope some people learn some few things, few tips and tricks, and hopefully they'll have a better game next time round. Uh, we will be starting a naughty versus nice shortly. Just for fun, it won't be shoutcasted. It'll just be something that we're doing on a Sunday. Any final thoughts? Any final words, Pengu? Any future plans when it comes to SOTF?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to develop the lessons things a little bit better, especially on even newer players, and yeah, try to make some content that can really help them. That they can just link to other friends and just say like, hey, I just look through these couple of things. Oh, you don't know what north is called. You don't know what volcano area is like. Oh, look at this link and it's explained. So I'm trying to work up a little database for that stuff, and I hope it helps a lot of people, and we can get this game get some more players.
So if new players want to contact you, what is the best way to do it, and what's the criteria? Do you look at number of hours? Do you interview them? How does it
No.
work? How do you get accepted?
Anyone can just contact me through my Twitch because my Steam is pretty much full, and I'm gonna have to. I have like 2 spots, but I need to keep them. I need to reserve them. But they can contact me on my Twitch, twitch.tv/putzar, and they can just ask me straight up, and then I will have a conversation with them to see what they want to gain from it. How much time do they have? How much experience do they have in other games? What's their strengths right now? What do they like about the game? What would they like to learn about the game? And then we go from there, basically. So yeah.
Okay, and the best place to find you would be your Twitch stream and the YGD TeamSpeak.
Yeah, exactly. Preferably the Twitch is the easiest way to go about it.
Perfect. Well, look, thank you so much for your time. I hope you enjoyed yourself. We hope to do this again as well, with some more clips, some more interesting clips as well. Guys, if you're watching and listening and you want to share your clips, please do send them to Red Sabrist. We'll start compiling them. It doesn't have to be all from XPulZ tournaments. They can be from official. They can be from other tournaments as well. What we're trying to get out here from Pengu on a regular basis, hopefully, is intelligent analytics on what could have been done differently, and hopefully that will continue to prove useful for a lot of players. Pengu, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the fun conversation, and thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you for being here.
Naughty versus nice.
It should be fun. I will definitely be playing in that myself as well as a normal player, so I hope it should be fun.
All right, sounds great.
Thanks. See you.
See ya.
So the Naughty versus Nice server is now coming up. With that, we're going to be ending this stream. If you are new to how to find our tournaments, you go in, first of all, for Naughty versus Nice, you need to change and make it a total conversion. And look for the XPulZ server, and you should be able to join. We hopefully will not have to run slow mo tonight. It's going to be a small game, 1 hour long, and just for fun. So look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you so much for coming. And of course, the most important part, everyone who followed today, really appreciate it. If you have feedback for us, please do not be shy and share it with us. Thanks.